It's whatever, baby. It's whatever, baby. It's whatever, baby. It's whatever, baby.
Right, so we're back for another episode of Whatever by Hektek by yours truly, Hektek from Hektek Desires. I am joined by someone that I've worked with in the past and had a very, very pleasant experience with. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people listening and watching.
Hello, people. I'm Sarah Diavola, and I'm a fetish producer and model and brat princess and cool person.
So, okay, what's a brat princess?
Um, well, when I started, it was on a store called Brat Princess, and so it was like kind of this emerging like pink domination. Like it was more bratty bitches who were emotionally cruel, but also like kicking dudes in the balls, making them into dogs, making them worship our feet and lick our ass. Like so it's just kind of another form of femdom that got made fun of for a long, long, long time, and now everybody's doing it.
Now everyone's doing it. All right, so you bring up a great point. How long have you been in the industry and what got you started?
Like '06 or '07, and I started on MySpace doing like I was in this group called Raw Feet, and I still talk to tons of those people still to this day. And each month or so they do like a contest like summertime feet or 4th of July feet or Christmas feet, and you'd submit like 5 photos and everybody would vote, and then the winner would get the joy of being the winner. Like that was it. And so it's just like it was a perfect place for just foot people to go. And so then I was stripping at the time, which I loved, and someone came in and they're like, how do you feel about being mean to men? I was like, they won't let me do that here. Like, I would love to. And so he was the guy who ran Brat Princess. And then we were like, why is he doing this? Why? Like, it's obviously for jerking off, but, and then we found clips for sale and the end.
Gotcha. So '06. So you definitely been in longer than I have. What would you say is different from that time to this time to present day?
Different, so many things. I mean, the more people know about fetish production and porn, and especially do it yourself, like which gave a lot of people who might not have had other opportunities to like make money. There's more people trying to regulate it or moralize it or make money off of it from you. Um, so there's just it's exploded now. There's so many ways for people to make money, but also I consider myself lucky to have started back then because man, it's real there's a lot of traffic out there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think we're just more in trouble now all the time.
I
Um,
definitely say we have a lot more visitors. And what I mean by visitors is people that have heard from their girlfriend or their girlfriend's girlfriend or this person or that person is like, oh my God, you could come and you could show your feet and you could make tons of money. And they're like, really? And then they start doing it and realize, no, it's actually work. Like you actually have to put
exactly.
some work into it.
Yeah, you can sell anything, but you have to do it. You have to show up. That's my biggest like advice to anybody is show up. Just come to work and do it and treat it like work. And like, yeah, especially with Findom, because like it was just this wild idea that was featured on like HBO or whatever. Like there's CR Lynch and Jasmine Mendez were on like these big shows. And so it was just this flood of people who are like, fuck you, pay me, yeah. But they don't realize that like Findom is so much babysitting. Like it's so much
Yeah.
babysitting and it's like psychological and it's it's almost easier to just show up, have some sex, and go home, you know. And if anyone asks me about how do I get into that? Like they're already not ready. Like you should be coming with to me with like specific questions and the understanding that like you're using my time and expertise, not like, oh, that sounds fun, let me do it. And then I use all this emotional energy and exposing myself to like explain this to this person, then they're like just gone. Like,
Right. I definitely, and I think I learned that lesson because I'm a person that if I fucks with you, I want to see all of us win. So
yeah,
I'll give the knowledge, not thinking that you're going to be like, fuck you, I'm out. And, now they're big time and they'd be like, oh, yeah, I got put on by this person. You'd be like, I introduced you to that person. Like, you didn't even know that person before me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Because now they know like who makes what name makes them look good or whatever. Like I was just thinking about this today. I was like, I think this is just an overall artist person thing. Like, I don't really respect the idea that you weren't influenced by anybody. Like, or that I don't have any like people who I looked up to and like wanted to be like and got ideas from. Like, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're all doing the same thing in a different way. Like,
I say if you can't be original, be creative.
yeah, exactly.
Like it's crazy because me and a business partner of mine, we have this sorority house that we're having in a couple of weeks, and someone that's coming end up sending me a link, and someone else is now doing a sorority house, and I'm like, no one even like threw this idea out here till we actually started pushing it.
Yep.
Now I'm sure 2024, 2025, all these sorority houses are going to be popping up. It's like, come on, people. Like, you could have called it something else. You could have did the same thing and just called it something else.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's like, is it like a cam house or like
Mm. So we're going to be more focused on girl stuff, but we also realized how the
okay.
platform.
Sorry, my camera just did something weird.
Oh no, it didn't glitch over here.
Oh, I'm using the wrong camera, that's why. Okay, I'm sorry. Keep
No,
going.
you're good. So, um, we are doing more focus on girl content, but we also learn how the new wave is. You have to do a lot of safe for work content as well as not safe for work content. So we're really geared up more for safe for work content, skits, stuff of that nature to give people a little bit of diversity as far as content goes, instead of just being like eating pussy and sucking dick.
Yeah.
It's like it's more. Even if we're going to be, we want to be more story based. So have a lot of stuff based around the sorority house. Like I'm a bring a Twister game so they could start off in pajamas doing Twister and end up naked or something. Something.
Yeah. It's
You know,
that's a great idea. Like, and
yeah.
it like I like a lot of the Brat Princess ideas, like, oh, there's just a sorority house full of like crazy ladies who are gonna kick your ass. Like, for instance, that's a
Right.
great idea because like you can't sell like that's the only way you're gonna have any presence on TikTok or Instagram is if you have that safe for work content. That's awesome. I'm really happy for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Because I will say this, and I don't know. Porn bores me now. It's very boring. It's no creativity. It's no walk up to the fucking part. It's just let's be as outrageous and crazy with it for 30 seconds so we could go viral. And it's just like, I don't give a fuck about going viral. I care about getting that residual income.
Yeah. Something of quality that you have in your library, like
Right.
movies. Like and clips for sale is also like part of that. I'm sorry, I thought I was using another camera, so I haven't been looking at you this whole time.
Now you're
Like
good.
clips for sale made that kind of possible to take clips out and just make it clips. And so yeah, I like that you're expanding it more into like a project, like a cinematic thing, like something you can get immersed in.
Right. No, 100%. Because, like I said, it's just it's so boring now. It really is. You know, it's almost like now for me to get excited about something, you gotta like throw me some really great ideas, and I'm like, okay, I could get behind that. But even when I film for people, and you know, one of the first things that I do when I go into a room is like I survey it, looking at the lighting, looking at different things, and I'm like, okay, so give me the scene concept. And they were like, and then everyone looks at me like I'm supposed to have the ideas. I'm not the one fucking like.
Yeah. Like, what's our story? We're like, I don't know. We were thinking some penetration from behind and from the front and from the side. Yeah.
100%. And then I'm like, it's crazy because then I'm like, how did we get here? And
Yeah.
everyone's face like goes blank, and you're like,
Where's the
"Don't-
tension? Like the stakes, the
give me
yeah,
5 seconds of dialogue at least." Like, oh my god,
it
yeah,
matters.
yeah. Even like as far as my dry humping stuff goes, I definitely get a different vibe from porn girls to fetish girls. If I give a porn girl 5 lines, she's gonna fuck it up. I
Yeah.
have if I give a fetish girl a concept, she is going to immerse herself into. Oh my goodness, it is just it's night and day. So I've
Yeah.
been more focused on fetish girls, honestly, because they're giving me actually quality that I want.
Absolutely. And I found that whenever I've worked on, because people are more like mainstream porn oriented on the West Coast, which is like different from where I came from in Florida or like my house in Rochester or whatever. Um, but like when I'll work for those people, they're like, no breaks. Like we didn't have to like one take Jake. Like you can talk. Nobody can talk. Like, and you either can or you can't. And that's like fetish people are just so much better at that. Like,
100%.
yeah.
I remember I had a fetish model probably a couple months ago, and she's like, "What is my motivation?" I was like, "Wait, what?" Like I was so thrown by it.
I
I
love
had no
that.
idea, and I just told her like kind of what I wanted, and she's like, "Got it." Like and then went into the scene. You know, one of my favorite people, Amy Mercury. You
I love
say
her.
action to her, and she turns into this whole other person. You know, versus
Yeah.
her personality is, you know, she's a little bit more, you know, to herself, reserved. You say action, and she's like straight on into it. You know,
Yes.
it's very very different
Yeah.
nowadays. So what would you say is different from the female perspective? Like
How
as
so?
far as female like as far as female talents now versus when you first got in.
Um, hmm. I mean, because I was gonna talk about people being flaky, but people have always been flaky here, you know. And like, especially if you're dealing with like a 19-year-old who's like just need, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of times people come into this industry because they're off their path for so I don't want to say that we're all off our path and that's how we got here, but this is a perfect industry for someone who might be struggling or who
Hmm.
might have a problem doing a 9 to 5. That's me. Like I am very fireable. Like this gives me like the I'm very fortunate to have this flexibility. And so like yeah, that brings all sorts of like possibilities of someone's personal stuff getting in the way or them not taking it seriously like a job. Um, there's, hmm, I mean, literally takes all kinds, but um, man, I don't know where I'm going with this, I guess.
Just be honest from what you see, because you say you also have your production as well. So even from that perspective, when you reach out to certain girls and stuff like that to work with, although I know it's going to be a little bit different for you versus me, but like what kind of stuff have you encountered versus when you first started? You know, first started.
Um, and yeah, it is different because I want to get more into making bigger productions with more people, like and hire more people. And right now it's just kind of who's available, who wants to do it, who can do it, and who's not going to charge me $1 million. But I kind of do this like I'll meet them and I'll see if it works out, and if it doesn't, damn it. Like the other, I recently worked with someone who they were going through some personal stuff with their partner, and it was just that the whole time, and it was a lot of like
Mm,
just interpersonal, like she was an interrupter like big time, and it was just like um I don't know. If I like the person, then I want to work with them. Like that makes a difference. Like
gotcha.
even if they're not like huge following or whatever, I'm like, whoever you are, I can make good content with you. I'll figure it out. Even if like this person also couldn't talk to the camera. And so that's a little difficult because I'm like, what do you think?
Right, they just looking
Huh?
at you.
But I mean, yeah, because I'm a creative person and I know what I'm doing. So yeah, if like whoever you are, I can make content with you. But I think people, hmm, it's kind of always been the same, I guess.
Okay.
People don't realize like how replaceable they are sometimes, or how
Ooh,
important they are, like how good they can be.
right.
And like I don't understand flaking, like a real no call, no show.
Yeah.
Like I think that's just a character, personal character thing though.
Do you think because you say, especially in this industry, there's all walks of life in here, and most people are in here in this industry for one reason or another. But I think the biggest part of it as well, a lot of it's no longer anyone holding anyone accountable anymore.
Yeah.
Like it used to be, if a girl flaked on multiple different producers, that whole producer pool just wouldn't work with her no more.
Yeah, exactly. And that's appropriate because like we're self-regulating. Like you can't go call clips for sale and be like, there, show up. Yeah. So like, yeah, we're self-regulating. And then yeah, you're right, because our culture is also gotten so talky and like it's hard to get to the bottom of it. So it's good to go directly to this person and like get both sides, because the truth
Mhm.
is always somewhere in the middle. And so there
Right.
is a lot more static and noise,
Yeah.
totally.
Oh,
And
I've seen where people
yeah.
are on Twitter, "Ah!" and then
And
when you
I've
get
been so
to
guilty of that.
and when you get to the bottom of it, you'll be like, this has nothing to do with the scene at all. This is like personal shit.
Yeah. Or they're using, yeah. And they're using like trigger words, some which is really irresponsible, like the word abusive or something. Like you gotta be real careful.
Coercion. Yeah.
Yeah, like be real careful with that stuff, because it's like first it's disrespectful to people it actually happens to, and yeah, just you understand it's just so irresponsible, and it's watering down the power and the importance of those words, and yeah, just a lot more static and stuff.
Right. Even and I've noticed this too, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. Why is it that it's so easy to go after the male talent, but the female talent that does the same thing as a male talent, it's almost like we're not too worried about
Well, like for instance, like give me an example.
that. Okay, if male talent crosses the boundary, it's like let's get the pitchforks and all this stuff out. But if a woman crosses a boundary, it's almost like we're not too concerned with that.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation because I mean, just entering this conversation to begin with, we both understand like male privilege and like the history of like, you know, uh women are perfectly capable of abuse of all types, and generally it's less common, but you're absolutely right. We should be holding people to the same level of accountability, and not just assuming, oh, if it's a dude, he probably did it. If it's a woman, she probably didn't. You know,
Right, right, right.
like it's very, if like, if five different people are saying the same thing about one person, it's probably true. But like, I think it's just, our cultural instinct to, I mean, because I was going to say believe women, but we don't in general. Like in our culture, we want them to prove it. But I think maybe because a lot of the audience listening to those accusations are women, that
Okay.
might be it. Because I don't see a lot of men being
Making
in that
accusations.
audience, like, please watch out for this person or whatever. And usually, yeah, I guess both of what we're saying is subjective. Like,
Mhm.
because I know, oh my God, this is a great, I just opened up this. I know someone who was accused of abuse, and it's a woman, a trans woman who's not very passing. And I think that had a lot to do with how easy it was for people to accuse her of this and that because of the manliness of her.
Mm,
And I felt like I could see right through that. So yeah, I think it's much easier to pin things on a man because, I mean, historically, men have kind of set themselves up that way. Like
hmm
I'll men in general, like you're a smart individual. You understand that I'm not saying like,
Yeah, no, I got what you're
"Crap,
saying.
okay, cool." But yeah, like um that's why I'm always a big proponent of like asking hard questions, like going and talking to somebody directly.
But when we ask those questions, then we're victim shaming or victim blaming. You know what I mean? It's almost like
Yeah, there's
it's such a gray area because it's like, no, I'm not victim blaming or shaming. I just want to know what happened.
well, then I think the best way to do that is to go talk to the other person and not ask for more from the
The
accuser. Because yeah, that can be really triggering. It's triggering for me because I'm like, it happened, just believe me. Like I shouldn't have to
right,
prove it. But it's you go talk to that other person and then you get more information that you can put together. And sometimes like the other person will say things that like trigger a red flag. You're like, it does seem a little iffy. Or if you're like, oh, I've been in that situation before. I see the big picture. Good to know.
like case in point, it was a situation happened months ago where a female went to a content house or whatever, and after the content house sent the subliminal broad statements, right?
Like subtweet.
Um, yeah, kinda, but everyone kind of knew where she went, so they put two and two together, and then pretty much what she was doing was blaming a black creator, but then and then she left, like she tweeted it and then left, like left for a day or two. And I get
Okay.
it, trying to get herself together, but at this time, you literally lit a match to this forest and walked away.
Brand. Yeah.
And then come to find out, she was like, "Oh no, this particular person didn't do anything to me. It happened at the event. The damage is already done."
Yeah. Like that's dangerous. It's dangerous to let your emotions go typing. Like, and I know that because I have a if you knew me 15 years ago, you don't know me now. Like I'm different, but like I have been very guilty of letting my emotions take the keys. But yeah, that's exactly, like your words are powerful. Like, and people are listening to you. Sometimes you don't realize that 10,000 people are reading your tweets. Like, your words mean something. And I remember right before a fetish, where we last saw each other at
hmm
FetCon, there were
hmm
these tweets going around like, this guy this guy that. I don't like the way he responded to my DM, so stay away from him. And I was like, first of all, I know the people who are getting upset, and I know who they are, and I kind of take their
oh,
being upset with a grain of
I think
salt.
I already know who you're talking
I know,
about
I think
because
you,
it's the same people all the time.
yeah, and it was two black gentlemen, and so I was like, that's also a factor that people don't realize that they might be doing. There's internalized misogyny, there's internalized racism. As a white person, you are born benefiting from racism, and you have to uh I don't know what the word
Understand?
is, condition yourself out of, uncondition yourself, like through listening, because you can't
Mhm.
do it, because you don't know, because I'll never know like
Right.
what it's like to be you. Like
Right.
I have to listen and believe and learn and understand. Like, so there was I got that vibe. I was like, oh, it's easy to write this person off as like crazy or dangerous, but I'm seeing these screenshots. I don't see a problem. I think this person might just have to learn how to talk to people differently, but also what if they can't win? Like,
Right.
you
No,
know,
it's so crazy because sometimes, especially when it goes to DM conversations, you have to like get in there, say your piece, and you move on. I had where someone was coming to Tampa, so on their thread, I was like, "Hey, I would love to, work with you when you come to this area." And she's like, "Well, you have to be deposit ready, da da da." So I'm like, "Okay." So I jumped in her DMs and I'm like, "Hey, I'm looking to shoot, not for a session, just to be clear." So I went about my life, come back, and she was like, "Yeah, everyone has to pay," and then blocked me, and I was just like,
yeah, that's a little new kid. I don't know, like like I mean, I get it, but like you probably don't know what you're doing. You're like, or like don't know how to find a reference, like because you are like, if she did a little research, she'd understand that this is a good, like a good gig with
right,
you.
right, right. And that's
Uh,
what I'm not saying I'm not trying to pay, but I'm
right.
just letting you know there's a difference in what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And I don't see like you don't hit people up like, hey girl, what's good? Like, do you want to hang out? Like, you want to get together and collab like every other doofus who's like, hey, you want to collab? You want to like you probably approached her professionally. Like, I'm sure because there's also something to be said for um paywall to protect you from bullshit. Because
Right.
if I answer every person who says hi, then like the paywall protects me and my time, and it roots out people who are not serious. Like if
Right.
someone is willing to give me $1, then they are serious about something. But that's not what this was. Like
No, and
it's vacuuming.
we do have a lot of mixing of pots in this industry now.
Yeah.
So, and just wanted to be clear, like, hey, we might be talking about two different things. I just want us to get on the same, and then we could go forward. Even if she said, okay, cool. Even before the blocking, if she said everyone pays, then I would have said, okay, what is your rate for blah 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 blah. I didn't even get to that.
Right. Just
Yeah,
yeah. It's just like we were saying before, we are self-regulating and there's nobody saying like, here's how to talk to somebody. Or I have like a college degree. So like I understand, I feel like I set myself up with some basic knowledge on how to write a formal email, for instance, or something. Like, and there's nobody out there teaching people how to communicate in general,
oh,
or how
100%.
to interpersonally relate.
And I think that's the biggest thing too is we're always behind the screen. So
Mm.
one way or another, either someone gets super brazen, like they could talk to anyone any kind of way because they feel they would never ever meet this person ever in life,
Yeah.
right? Or they're super like me. Depending on the conversation, if you totally disrespect me, I'm gonna see you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see you. But for the
Yeah.
most part, I treat this as a business, so I understand everyone's not going to want to work. Everyone's not going to want to work with me. Everyone's everyone, like you said, everyone's in it for different reasons.
You don't take it
Cool.
personally.
I
That's
don't. I try
yeah.
not to.
You
It's
can't. I mean,
hard
you're a human
sometimes.
being.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. it's definitely hard sometimes because you be like, wait, what makes them better than you know what I mean? It starts
Yeah,
you start to compare what makes them
it's
better than
hard.
me. What did they say that I haven't? You know what I mean? Kind of deal.
Exactly. It's
But
hard to let that stuff go because, like, our job is us.
one hundred
You are
percent,
your job.
you're right. So when someone tells you no, it's not even the no; it's how you say no.
Mm.
You know,
Like,
because you could say, "Oh, well, unfortunately, right now I'm not shooting," or "Unfortunately, right now,
or
my
just no,
brand
thank
doesn't
you.
call for you," or "No, thank you," 100%.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I've been in the game long enough that I don't even ask why. I just be like,
Yeah. And
"Okay,
you don't need to know. Be like, I appreciate your inquiry, but no, thank you.
yeah,
Um, and then that always, unless, and you'll find out. I have this rule where, like, you'll find out, especially with men, like, who they are if you tell them no about something.
oh
Like,
yeah, you
so
dumb
you will
bitch."
likely, yeah, like, exactly. Like, you saying no, thank you, you did your job. If that
Yeah,
person has a problem with it, then we block them. But
right,
yeah, we're just talking about professionalism, basically.
100%. And I do say from the time I've been in to now, that is very lacking. Well, first of all, professionalism is one of those trigger words too that people like to throw in there when they're trying to win an argument. And I'm like, but y'all don't even know what that word means.
Right. And especially in porn. Like, if I go into like Staples, I'm like, well, we were fucking in the office, but they didn't tell me they were going to put it in my butt. That's so unprofessional. And Staples would be like, none of this is professional, you know? Whereas in porn, yeah, okay, we're going to talk about that. Like,
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, did y'all talk about this? No. Well, you can't call them unprofessional. Was stuff not explained or discussed? 100%.
or like people are starting this not on Clubs for Sale, on, I was gonna say MySpace, but OnlyFans, where there are a lot of OnlyFans people who are like, why do I have to get someone's ID and stuff? Because OnlyFans, first of all, doesn't flag you until afterward. They don't make you upload it when
Mhm,
you upload it. And I
mhm.
fucking hate OnlyFans, but that's another thing. I don't
Yeah.
even log in. But these people are just like, they don't understand how it works, like, and they're not being taught, like, they're just like, put your feet online, put your tits, you know what I mean? Like, we're self-regulating and we're not doing it great because we're also like fighting against outside forces. And yeah, you're right, we should make a professionalism class.
Oh, a lot of people would fail.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because professional, you know where it starts at? Starts at communication.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what that class would all be about, I believe. Be like, here's how to approach somebody, because you'd be surprised at how much knowledge is not common.
No, and do you feel the influx on the platforms and what they're requiring and all this is because of the visitors and because of no more gatekeeping and stuff of that nature?
I think it's because people know it, mainstream more knows about it, and so these factions who are already trying to control us and our speech and erase gay people and black people and trans people, like, they're using us as a very easy scapegoat. Like, satanic panic was one thing with metal music, or rap music when like the parental advisory first got invented.
Yeah.
Like, um we're seeing it, we're scared of it, it's challenging our status quo. Um, and so let's just rile up everybody under the guise of protect the children, and everyone else is Satan.
Or,
And
or sex
we,
traffic.
yes, oh, I hate
Yeah,
that word,
me.
because like, even police, as just the most evil entity they are, will admit like that all those rules keep them from finding bad people because they can't talk to us whores, you know, like, because our speech is illegal.
Mm,
So like, yeah, and money runs the world. Like, the
100%.
whoever's the the person who's the boss of making all these regulators, MasterCard, is just like, if you want, just like strip clubs, rules at strip clubs are in place because of their liquor license. Like, it's all down to money. Even the people who want to control our internet with, like, it's not age verification, it's ID verification, these laws. They're like, we want to know what you're doing and
Who
what you're
you are.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to, like, it's so easy to control our country because of the, like, how digital we all are, and we're so separated but also all one thing. It was so easy for anyone to go in and bot up our election. Like, you can talk whole conversations with the fucking bot, and like, and it's brilliant and scary.
Yes.
Like, and then the rise of just like not knowing what is AI anymore, just visually, like it's scary.
When a model is posting an AI picture as their profile pic,
That drives
I
me
can't
crazy.
I can't even take you seriously.
I don't like. I know someone once told me that they do it for privacy reasons because of like facial recognition and stuff. I'm like, you're not going to get around it with like a
Your
super duper.
face is still
Exactly.
on this AI.
And so you want someone to recognize that you're the person who makes this cool shit, but you also don't want to be recognized. Maybe you shouldn't be here. Like, I
Fact.
don't know. It does drive me nuts. Maybe it's us. I don't know. I don't get the
OGs. No, it's
worshiping an AI person.
and no, and then it was crazy because it affects my field more so than yours. And I'll say that by, I could take a girl's picture, I could give her the raw, she could go on this AI app, she could do every fucking thing she wants, and not really pay me for my services to edit it correctly, right?
Yeah, because you're a photographer first, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I used to be.
Or like, okay, yeah. Um, exactly. And even before that, people would disrespect photographer rights and stuff and not understand first from an art point of view, like, this picture is good. How, like, I gave it to you because I am an artist and I did it. But like, they're thinking of their own
Selfish.
personal insecurities
Right.
and not respect. They don't see, just again, professionalism. They don't see what you did as a job, like that you did. Like, copyright law protects people more than they think. Like, for instance, if I don't get if you're holding my camera or taking my picture and I don't get a work for hire contract from you, you
Mhm.
own my stuff. Like, that's why, like, if someone is if your cat holds the camera, like, they own your stuff.
Yeah.
So people don't understand, again,
Oh,
that it's a job.
we're going to get deeper than that one because you just opened a whole big can of worms.
I
When
love
you
doing
go
that.
to a convention, it's a public space and people don't know copyright laws. Like you said, if I come up to you and I hold my camera up to you and you do one of these, you just gave me implied consent. I
Yeah.
don't need verbal consent, especially in a public place.
Yeah.
And
Like,
so now you have a girl be like, oh, all these photographers just taking my picture and none of them paid me for them. And you're at a booth.
yeah, you kind of have to take what you're doing into account. And then there's the other hand where someone's like in my face and I'm like, please don't take a picture of me. And they're like, it's a public place, it's legal. But that's, honestly, that's has
That's
to
a
do with
dickhead
being
move.
asshole. I was just gonna say the word thing for a dickhead, asshole.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. My only problem with photographers at events is like, I'm never gonna see those damn pictures. I'm just never gonna see them. But
Well,
yeah, you're right.
but you know why, and I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of photographers that's been in the game a while now are just so tired of it because we give the pictures to the models, and the models re-edit them, or they never tag the photographer or anybody. So most photographers now are just like, you know what? I'll take the pictures to keep my portfolio active. And if I feel like tagging one of these models, then great. I had, it's crazy. I did a content house. And so I shot this girl and I'm like, hey, I think these are going to be good enough to put in a magazine. You just can't use them, right? And so she was like, fine. And I guess she got antsy because I was asking her for certain criteria. So once I edit these, I could send them off to the editor and we can
Yeah.
get them published, right? So,
Good.
anyways, she ends up publishing one of the photos unedited.
No.
So, me being petty because I am a Virgo, I went and found the same picture, re edited, and then posted it, right? Shot her shit out the water. You know, she then went back and stole the picture that I edited and reposted it under hers. And I was
It's
just like, if you had just told me which pictures you wanted me to edit, I would have edited those shits and sent them to you.
yeah. It's like you gotta like stipulate things in your contract, like, and even then, like I've known girls who like will sign the model release and then they'll ask them like, hey, your ID was blurry or something. They're like, pay me for it. What? Like what?
Wait. Pay for what? Their
Giving
ID
them the
picture?
ID. I'm like, and because it didn't happen to me, that person didn't get like publicly named and shamed.
Yeah.
But I hate being angry for other people because I got enough to be angry about. But I'm like, why didn't you?
Yeah.
What? Just deal
That's
with it.
that's crazy though.
It's evil, and I think it violates the contract. Like, I don't
Especially if they pay for it. Like,
exactly
wow.
like you were paid for something like that's. I've just seen it happen a lot more out here.
That's wild. I've had
Yeah.
where people no longer in the industry and they give you a hassle then it's like, listen,
Ah, that's frustrating. Or they've passed
shit
away.
right, shit happens. Like I get it, you know. So most of the time I'd be like, you know what? Got it. I won't bother you again. But you know, it's unfortunate. But yeah, so back to the so yeah, a lot of photographers listen, I will shoot a whole scene for somebody and they tag the nail tech, they tag the makeup artist, they tag the landlord, they tag all these people. They would never tag me, the one who actually shot the scene. So
Hmm.
I just started getting to the point where I'm way more selective on who I shoot shit for and with now. I even went to another content house and one of the girls who never give me my credit was like, "Oh, Tech, you gonna let's go do a photo shoot?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm not doing photos."
Yeah, and like you want to tell her why, but then you're who knows what she's how she's gonna react to that and make you the bad guy, you
Right,
know?
right,
And like
right.
yeah, like
So,
being
it,
honest
it,
doesn't make you friends.
no, and so how to alleviate that whole problem is just me not doing it. I rarely shoot photos anymore. Rarely, and if
Yeah.
I do, it's like for fun or to keep me active in it somewhat, but I barely do it.
Yeah, if it's not joyful, then it's not
It
worth
it's actually joyful. It is I love doing it, right? Because even before I got into video, people used to ask me if I would do video. I was like, no, I'm a purist. I want that one shot that's going to tell this whole story. So I love it. I just hate dealing with people.
yeah. Yeah. Like the business takes the fun out of the art.
Right. And trying to explain to women that this is art and art is subjective. So, and I also used to have to tell them this: it's not about you. Yes, I'm taking the photos of you, but you are an advertisement for whatever we're trying to get out there.
Yeah, but sometimes they're an advertisement for themselves, like, and it is about them if they're sharing it, and um, insecurities can get in the way, and but you can't ruin someone's pic. Yeah, you have to like understand that it's about you just as much, even
Mm,
more, especially if you're like getting someone to model for you, and it's not like, hey, can you help me with my model portfolio or whatever, but yeah, because the model like makes money off of her image, she can be too, or he or she can be too
Yeah,
like chokehold over it.
right. Which I get it, but mm,
Yeah,
you look at someone's portfolio before you even want to work with them,
exactly. You
if
have
they
to
even have a
trust.
portfolio. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're photographing me, I trust you as a photographer because I know that I can like there are bad angles or different things I'm insecure about, but like you talk about that with your photographer because photography is a relationship and a vibe while you're doing it the whole time.
Hmm.
Like it's a conversation, it's communication, and if you're like that worried about it, say something.
Right.
And I'm going to pick this photographer who makes people look good.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, back to convention. That's why a lot of photographers now just be like, whatever.
Yeah, and like there's good photographers wandering around, and then there's like
Guys with
assholes wandering around
cameras.
who are just like like this. Oh my God, this one guy I think is I forget his name, but he's just because he's a nobody. But I asked him to like help me take a picture with my boyfriend at the time, and he's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm a photographer. I don't take selfies," as if it was beneath him. And he was like, oh, "I've been on the Emmys red carpet." I'm like, "You know what you need to be on the red carpet? A media pass, bitch." Like
Yeah.
they don't look at your portfolio, but it was
Yeah.
just so like, ew.
Snootish. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the dickheads on every level of our industry.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100. Oh, so so I remember like maybe year one, year two. I know a couple people now, and I happened to be talking to Rome Major at the time, and one of my favorite models before I got in the industry was like right here, right? So I was like, "Hey, Rome, give me a sec. Let me, say something to her real quick." So I turned to her. I'm like, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm a big fan of yours. It's an honor to meet you." Da da da. And she did this shit. Oh, okay. And from that moment on, I was like, "Bitch, you never have to worry about me another day in your life."
Right, she just ruined wow, that's
And
a
the
dick.
crazy thing is, full circle, a year later, someone was like, "Hey, I need you to shoot me," and I was like, "Well, who's the other model?" And they brought her name, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good."
Good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I feel like there should be consequences to people's actions socially. Like if you're a jerk, no one should want to hang out with you.
and the different conversation a fan has with a talent versus two talents have. You know what I mean? The conversation is different.
Yeah, and
The,
you weren't
the,
asking for I don't know.
yeah,
You're
it
not
was
asking for a date.
100%. I was just like,
I don't know.
"Oh, word,
That's weird
okay."
to me. I don't understand assholes. And yeah, there are a lot of assholes. Like, and maybe that's why I keep to myself a lot because like I can't, I'll do that. I'll see you in some way as well. Like I can't let it go if you are an asshole. Like and you're gonna hate me because I'm gonna say something like back to you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can't handle just letting it go. And that's something I
I've
work.
learned to,
It's
because it's easy to get snubbed and it's easier to think you gotten snubbed. And
very good
there's a
point.
time that I thought I had gotten snubbed, but the person was legit sick. I'm sick, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure you are." You know what I mean? So I
Right,
thought I got
exactly.
snubbed. And they were like, "No, I really, really wanted to work with you. I really, and then they're explaining after the fact, and you feel like a total dickhead because you thought this person really like
But
snubbed you.
communication, fix that, you know? And a lot of times I'm sure people have felt snubbed by me because I'll just like, I don't know, depression will hit or something and I'll be just disappeared for 2 weeks and not realize it. Like,
Yeah.
but communication.
Right,
All of
right.
it comes back to that.
Even and so since then with that other model, anytime I go to a convention, I've had fans be like, "Oh, I've seen you and I was just nervous to come up to you, or you were talking to someone and I didn't want to interrupt." And I tell them, "I don't give a fuck who I'm talking to. Come up and say hi and I'm gonna say hi back. Because guess what? If you're not buying my shit, why am I here?
Exactly. And you keep hold of all the bad things that people tell you, and so you need to be filled up with good things. Like, it's so I like I need to be told, like, hey, I admire you, or you're doing a good job. Like, my little inner child needs to hear that, like, I'm doing a good job. And you'd be people who seem so confident, like, they're just they need a pat on the back too. Like, I'll
Right.
keep that. Someone comes up to me and says something like that, or even just like, I've watched your videos, like, at all. I'm like,
Right. I'm like, you know me?
crazy. I still feel like a little nobody, and that makes
Right,
me feel
right,
so good.
right. It was even crazy for me year two, year one, year two, and people coming up to me like, oh my God, you're such an inspiration for me, and da da da. And I'm like,
Right?
who are you talking to? Like,
You're like, I'm not a grown up.
right.
Exactly.
Who are you talking to? Me? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, and they will tell me, you remember that one shoot that you did with such and such? And they're going through my whole catalog. And I'm like, wow, you really did pay attention. Because I
Yeah,
forgot all about them.
exactly.
So, yeah. So,
How awesome you are.
right. So, key point, don't be dickheads to your fans or just people trying to come up and introduce themselves to you. Because you
Yeah,
never, especially in this industry, someone might be a fan today and then a megastar tomorrow. It has happened.
exactly. Or like they are in a position of power later over you. Like, it's a very small world. Very small world.
Very, very, very. So we're going to play a segment. You're going to be the second person that I did this with. I did it with 3 other people before, but this segment is Name That State. This is the part where I'm gonna tell you some fucked up laws, and you have to guess which state it comes from.
Okay.
All right? Let me pull it up. And you don't have to stress. I'll give you, since it's just you, I'll give you multiple chances to figure it out. But where is it? Okay. So are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. This is so. If I start giggling, I'm sorry because these shits are so dumb.
Alabama.
All right.
They are dumb.
Biting someone with your natural teeth is simple assault, while biting someone with your false teeth is aggravated assault.
Washington State.
So that means that you got it incorrect.
Okay.
No, it's not. You want another chance?
False teeth.
Wait, why you say Washington State? That's so.
Because I was thinking about George Washington. It really could be anywhere, but I'm thinking like the South, like
Okay, I'll give you that one. It's the South.
Louisiana.
That
Nice.
is
Thank
it. All right, here's another one. This is I gotta change this one. Balls may not be thrown within the city limits.
Balls may not be thrown within the city limits. Ooh, wow. Any city limits, like
Any city limits, yeah.
in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Geez, wow. Massachusetts.
I'll give you another one.
Let's see.
It's in
Maine.
a huh?
I said Maine, so I took my chance.
It starts with an M. Both of those started with M's. It starts with an M, but not those. It's
Missouri.
Montana.
Montana. But there's so much space.
You think that's all they would have to do is be throwing balls randomly? I don't know.
Our country's so funny.
All right. Are you ready for this one?
No, but yes.
It is illegal to drive a camel on the highway.
Oh, wow. To drive a camel on the highway. Texas? Not Texas.
No.
Where the fuck are camels?
First of all, camels are not native to the United States,
Right.
first of all.
Like, what was the reason this had to be enacted? Because I know the horses are a rule everywhere, but
Yeah.
Alaska.
Nevada. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We're going to do two more and then we'll be good.
All right.
All right. No one may be arrested on Sunday or on the 4th of July.
Utah? On Sunday or the 4th of... Is that Alabama? No. What is it?
Ohio.
Huh.
I know.
I guess we're doing crime in Ohio. Interesting.
On Sundays and the 4th of July. Absolutely. All right. Last one. Huh. It is illegal to lie down and fall asleep in a cheese factory.
Wisconsin?
That was a good guess, though, but nah.
Cheese factory. New York. I don't know.
South Dakota.
But any other factory is okay.
Any other factory, you're good. You could take a sleep. You could sleep and do everything else you need to do. Yes.
Okay, because I had plans.
You should have been on here. The other question was, you can throw a snake, but you can't shake a snake at someone. That was illegal.
I need to know where this came from. Like, there was a whole meeting about this one time.
Right. Someone was like, snake throwing? Okay.
That's
shaking?
Okay.
Nah.
That's too aggressive.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. It's and these laws are still going. I mean, of course they're not practiced.
Right, they're just kind of hidden. But yeah, it just shows like how, like, I don't know, outdated a lot of our state's stuff is.
And someone asked, well, why don't they go through it and like who has that time?
Yeah, or I mean, they've barely have enough time to get their lobbyists together and get elected next time, and they don't care about political plan. Like, they don't care about what's the word? Like, they care about getting elected. They don't care about governing.
Right.
But
all right, interesting. So these were industry questions from other industry people. Okay. Biggest pet peeve in the industry.
Biggest pet peeve. Oh, so many. When people confuse, I think it's the most common happening pet peeve, when people confuse trade and share. They're like, do you want to trade? But we're sharing the same content. I'm like, no, that's not what that word means.
Yeah. No, that's probably one of my pet peeves too. Or collab.
Yeah, that's an OnlyFans thing.
Paid collab, free trade collab. It's like, no, a collab to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, is us working together on a project without pay.
Yeah, for me, I would classify, because that's a new word for me. Like collab would be, okay, we're collabing, but is it going to be trade or share or paid or whatever?
Right, right, right,
Like, but yeah, collab does imply like you're not, yeah, collab wouldn't, pay wouldn't fall under collab, I don't think at all.
right,
No,
right. No,
because you're both the boss of the project.
100%. Yeah, there's so many terminologies and so many things being thrown out that I feel myself being getting older by the moment by hearing them. Like, you know, when someone throws something out there, you'd be like, maybe I'm too old for this.
Right. You're like, that's not real. That's not real. Or like the catfishing, like so there's a little faction of findom, it's catfish findom, where like they go to someone who they know is catfishing as someone else. Exactly, my face, exactly. It doesn't make sense because it's probably a dude. Like it's the extreme getting ripped off and humiliated, I guess. But I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Kids these days.
Facts. All right, here's another one. What is the most common thing someone can do in bed to ruin an orgasm?
Um, Most common thing.
Mhm.
Talk to me, like, don't like talk to me while I'm like in the home stretch, like changing the subject. Like I'm focused. If you're doing it, keep doing it. Um, like distracting me is annoying. But also, and this happened to me, is saying something about how I'm a porn star and that you're fucking a porn star. Like, get out. Like gross. Gross.
So why
Like,
is that? Curious.
cause like
It's like a
for
trophy.
the first it is hokey, but also it's like it's belittling and like, oh, so that was it. I'm just like something you can tell your friends about. And the
Oh.
person was like the most unpleasurable sex I've ever had in my life. Ever. I almost laughed when he said something about him being daddy, and I was like, I was like, I gotta really, really respect you calling you daddy. Like, but oh man, that's me. I then you look back and you're like, why didn't I kick that person out when they first did this or that? But
Right, right, right. All the red flags were pointing in this direction.
yeah.
Yes. Um. Ooh, this is a good one. I think we already know the answer to this one, but I'm gonna have you go on. Can you possibly be secretly blacklisted?
Oh yeah. I think that's mainly how blacklists work. Because like there you don't share where the blacklist is if there is one. Um, I'm sure I have been. I think an ex-boyfriend did that to me in Florida, like, and made sure that I didn't work with anyone or go to anyone's party, like, and that really sucked because no one's gonna tell you about it. Like,
Right.
but I think that's usually how you are blacklisted, is silently, which
That's
sucks. You can't find out and be like, what's the problem? What did I do? How can I
right. And no one wants to be the adult and be like, well, you did this. And you be like, no, I didn't. I never did that. Like, what the
yeah.
fuck are you talking about? And sometimes, so anytime there's a problem in the industry and we come full circle back to these blacklists, I have to remind people blacklists are very fucking dangerous. And they're dangerous because, like you said, you never know why you're put on a blacklist. It could be something, it's rarely ever something you did on set.
It's yeah, a lot of personal stuff can get in there.
100%. Or, case in point, your ex boyfriend, he doesn't fuck with you no more, so he's going to ice you out of a lot of situations. You
Right.
didn't do anything, you just stopped fucking him.
Right. And all these people missed out on like the best person. Like, but yeah, like blacklists are very helpful for clients. Like this is a dangerous person. I think if someone's generally, yeah, if someone's blacklisted in the industry, it's because everybody knows, like, well, if they're publicly blacklisted, it means like 20 different people said you did this thing and you
Right.
like we all know you're shitty, and people will still work with them. More likely, you're also
100%.
more likely to work with them, I find, with guys, because it's easier to be like, oh, well, that girl was just exaggerating or whatever, or like, wow, you can't do anything these days. But yeah, if it's a silent blacklist, it's most likely personal, because wouldn't you want everyone to know that person's dangerous,
Right.
you know?
And then, like I often say, the industry has a mind of a gnat. So, can we really be canceled or blacklisted? Because, like you said, just because this group of people don't fuck with you anymore doesn't mean this group of people ain't gonna fuck with you
Exactly.
anymore.
And you got to be careful not to take that with you. Like, oh, this tiny little group doesn't like me, so everyone must know about this. No, like, we're a small world, but it's also way bigger than we
Mhm.
think. Like, this industry's huge.
Have you ever? Because I know I have. Have you ever had someone not fuck with you based on who you fuck with?
Yes. I just got like told that someone was saying that these wild fucking things about me being transphobic and thinking that all trans people are just sissies who need to be feminized or something like that. And I was like, what? And it turns out that I'm friends with someone that they don't like. And so they're like, she's best friends with my abuser, and like that word again. And so I was like, no, 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 let me go investigate. And I talked to this person. I was like, what do you know about this? What do you know about this? Oh, okay, cool. My solution to that is to just know that that's not true.
Yeah.
Like, talk to the people who brought that to me. Um, but yeah, it turns out they were bothered that I was friends with someone that they really didn't like. And yeah, you got to be careful with like, also the opposite, like being loyal over taking care of your own business.
Oh,
Like, I shouldn't, like, that's why I was slow to make money on OnlyFans, because of how it started. My friend like made Follow Plus, and then her boyfriend took the idea, made OnlyFans, and then broke up with her and dated her best friend. And so out of loyalty to her, I was like, fuck OnlyFans. But then I screwed myself over being loyal to somebody and missing out on money that was there.
oh,
Like, so
I've
it's hard to balance.
so how I am. I mean, you've been around me. If I fucked with you, I fucked with you, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of old school where I can miss out on money and opportunities because my loyalty I feel goes further, right?
Yeah.
But
Same.
I've been loyal to some really really shitty people. Not shitty at first.
Exactly.
Not
Or they
shitty
were,
at
yeah.
first.
Or they were secretly using you or secretly envious of you and hoping you would fall. I've had a
Right.
lot of best girlfriends who were secretly just trying to belittle me and little dude me the whole time. And I felt small around them. And then as soon as I disagree with them, suddenly their true colors come out. And I was usually the only person on their side that whole time. But yeah, loyalty is like, I love that about myself. But at the same time, like, it can be a weakness or
Oh,
used.
100. And the crazy thing is, me and this person, when the what really truly showed that I was loyal to a shithead was over uh, female talents, not because I did anything to them egregious, over female talents liking me over
Insecurity.
them. I
Yeah.
was just like,
Secretly envying you.
yeah, and and it blows my mind because I'm like, we're in porn. That's like that's the whole point. Like we're in
Yeah.
like
You can't comprehend that way of thinking because you're not like that.
right. No, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely missed out. And then come full circle, people like, yeah, I didn't fuck with you because you were fucking with them, and stuff of that nature. I'm like, yeah. So I've learned to kind of, hey, Your beef with that person is your beef with that person, has nothing to do with me. I am still cool with that person, but to a point. Don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not
Right.
team them. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just observing
Right.
and
Yeah,
try to do your
it's
job.
this industry is very I know now I could do politics. Hands down. If you could come into this industry and leave unscathed, you could do politics.
Mm.
Because I remember when porn used to be free and used to be, we're expressing ourselves, fuck what everyone else thinks, blah, blah, blah. Now it's so, well, this group of people don't like us. And I used to have to tell people, senators, congressmen, police, all these people don't have to come after us because we are cannibals to ourselves.
Yeah.
We will
Yeah. We're so,
fuck our own people up before anyone else will.
yeah. It's a barely organized Lord of the Flies situation.
Yeah. Yeah. We will. And don't let us start off at the same spot, at the same level. And for some reason, you're getting more popular than me.
Yeah. And then those weird, yeah, insecurities come in, and it's hard because like we said before, your personality is you, is your business, is your job, but also you have to separate that in order to do the job and have your brain survive and your friendships survive.
Yeah.
Like, it's great that we are self-regulatory, like we're pretty like we kind of, especially like for instance with testing, like we organize ourselves and police ourselves better than the general public, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time it is like that could go awry so easily. Like, um I was watching this movie, I forget what the movie was, but it was like a foreign attack, and there are different stages, and one was like shut down their communications. A country's like the cheapest way to destroy a country was like, it was Julia Roberts, and there was like a ship
Oh,
that
yeah,
came.
yeah. When they were on
Yeah,
the ship came to the
yeah.
shore.
I
Yes.
fucking loved that movie,
And
but
the
the end was
fucking,
like the
and the
last step,
Teslas
they'll
was
do it
driving
themselves.
into each other.
That movie, like, it made me want to read the book. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, the last step is let them burn themselves. It will happen.
100%. 100%. And I think that's where I feel we've started so far left, now we're so far right. Something has to happen for us to get back center.
Yeah, if we can.
That I don't know what needs to happen for us to get back centered, but something needs to happen because this shit's outrageous.
Yeah. I think we need to offer a how to talk to people like an adult course for the adult industry.
Okay, you bring up a point. I'm about to ask you this question. Do you think the age requirement needs to be raised?
It won't work, but yeah, I mean, your brain is made up of, like, there's gray matter, but there's also white matter, which is the last thing to develop. And like it goes from here all the way to the front, and it doesn't get here until you're 25 entire years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you're not even fully functional as a thinking brain until you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
But people are not gonna wait until they're 25. Like, you're 25, like our country expects you to be married with kids and stuff like that, or at least historically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think, uh, yeah, I don't know if that would help, but, and I think it would just open up a new genre of like underage, like underage would be just be expanded. Like, it's bad enough when they're like
Everyone to be looking for it now, especially.
something, I don't know. And also, like, when you're 25, you're technically a MILF in like some circles, like in porn. Like, I wouldn't like, I'm 41. Like, I don't want to, I wouldn't lead with that. You know, I'd be like, here, look at my work first.
Right,
Then
right.
when we're filling out paperwork, you
Yeah.
can just look or not. But yeah, I don't think that would help because I don't also like there are plenty of real stupid old people or real asshole old people or people like
Yeah.
bad home training.
And I'm finding those. I'm finding a good balance of both. But when I see someone who's older and doing young people shit, like stupid young people shit, I'm like, what happened to you? Like,
Yeah, or like, how are you growing? I don't understand how a person cannot grow as a human being with ears and eyeballs, actively taking in information. I
you have family, like you have a family that you cultivated. Like, how are you not it? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like some stuff that I see, it boggles my mind because I'm like, how? Like, how? How are you 50 and making 18-year-old mistakes?
yeah.
You know, like not checking for references, not looking at testing, just, oh, this young hot body just wants to fuck me. So, yeah, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, like that's not professional. That's like you shouldn't. This isn't your job, sir. Like this isn't the job for you, sir or madam. Like yeah, and it's a lot of like a lot of people are incapable of entertaining the thought that they might be wrong because that's the only way that you can learn from anything is to be like, oops, like the oops comes first, and then you learn and you do something different.
Right.
Like too many people like are offended by the idea that they might be mistaken or they might need to change their mind on something. Like
Ugh.
people are crazy.
No, 100%. So, brings up a good point. Do you think Twitter following or Twitter followers matter?
No, um, but maybe. I mean, because Twitter's gonna like arbitrarily shadow ban you if they want to anyway. It does uh factor into someone's natural like, oh, this person wants to work with me, let me go. And if they have like 4-digit followers or whatever, you're like, oh, I really should work with them because if they retweet me, more all those people are going to see me. So that matters in terms of reach to me. But what if they're shadow banned? What if they're just like, I've seen people with like tons and tons of followers who are not talented. Like, so it doesn't mean, but also that's the other part of showing up. Like, someone has like 20% of my talent, but 80% more success because they're showing up
They're showing, yo,
consistently.
okay, so that is a saying. I say 75. I say 75% of this industry is showing up. The other 25 we could fuck around with.
Yeah, 80-20 or 75
Yeah,
25
yeah, yeah, yeah.
applies to so many things. Like
Yeah.
20% of your effort should make 80% of your income, or like all sorts of things. But yeah,
Yeah.
80%, I think Woody Allen said that, like just showing up. Like honestly, that's my golden advice for myself and anyone else. Like if you show up, and it honestly often does not matter what you look like. Like people like to say like, oh, it's so much easier for pretty people. It must be so easy for you, and you. I'm like, yeah, but if I'm not showing up, like I have the same insecurities as anyone else who looks any different way. And there are plenty of people who are what you person A or person B might think is attract that might not be attractive to you, but they're breaking it in because they're showing up. They're making those relationships.
Listen, being in the industry, I've seen some shit. And I'll tell you, the less attractive people are fucking. Like, nasty.
There,
Versus the good looking people are like starfishing.
yeah, there's a lot. I see a lot of that in like the mainstream porn where people who can't fucking act for their life, but they look really good with cum on their eyelashes or whatever.
Yeah,
And like, I don't mean to belittle anything, but yeah,
yeah.
like it, or fetish models who don't have that luxury of going in and getting paid 2,000 or whatever dollars to have sex and go home. Like they have to make 20 videos to get there. And
Yeah.
fetish is a very cerebral thing. Like
It
men
is.
are way more cerebral with their sex than they give themselves credit for, and that's what fetish is about.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's the men. I think it's especially now the newer women feel, oh, all I have to do is show them my pussy, or all I have to do is show them my tits, and dudes are just gonna spend money at me. And you might get a few, because they're interested. Curiosity killed the cat. But once they pass that natural threshold, like you said, they're more cerebral. So they were like, so what else is
Yeah,
going to
that's what I
happen?
mean.
Yeah.
Like everybody kind of thinks like, oh, men are just visual. That's it. But the I've been talking to men about things they can't tell anyone for
Mm-hmm.
a decade and a half, and you guys are way more cerebral than you give yourselves credit for sexually. Like, and it's so fun to explore. I feel like people who are into fetish are like a little more intellectual. Like, but
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's not always just like I see boobies, I get horny. Like
Right,
you need
right.
a feeling or like I need to trigger this tension. I call it like friction or tension. Like that's why blackmail videos are really good or like I'm gonna get caught cheating or whatever because there's that little lump in your throat. It's
Mm-hmm.
exciting instead of just like, oh, we're banging. But yeah, y'all are way more complicated than you give yourselves credit for. And we as a culture don't allow you to be that way. And that sucks.
Listen, I knew men in fetish were cerebral when I'm seeing these 8-page custom requests, and I'm like, the fuck? Like, it's a whole, like, they written a whole fucking script.
Yeah. And that's when you're like, I think it's fair to be like, can you tip me to read this? Like, because also I have to dissect that and I'll tell them, I'm like, put it on literotica.com, have everybody enjoy it. But also, like, because I'm a really creative producer, it ties my hands because I'm like, if you put all that in there, all of that must be important. Whereas if you give me an
Mm.
outline, I'm going to do it probably better than you wrote it. Like, so yeah, you're right that that is a good example of like how deeply they think. But yeah, that kind of stuff like ties my creative hands.
No, I definitely. Have you ever had a talent that you thought was creative, and then when you get there, you're like, what the fuck? Like, we're supposed to be pumping these things out and thinking off the walls stuff, and they're just one dimensional.
Yeah, um, but I think it's because I try so hard in my head, like to be different or be creative. And so um they might be more confident in who they are. And I'm like, no, let's do something cool or whatever, because what I am isn't good enough, or just that can be an element. But yeah, I'm sure because I do a lot of talking POV videos. So like people aren't as verbally creative as I am. Or yeah, I have I think a recent person. I was like, well, yeah, I was like, you have like 8,000 bazillion gajillion followers. You say that you're really, really good at talking in POV, and you didn't say a word the whole time. Like, so that's
Wow,
disappointing.
that and for me, that's one of my for my fetish series. Like, I need a girl that can talk because they don't necessarily want to hear me. You know what I mean? Like, the guy wants to hear the woman say all the nasty, filthy shit. So some of them. That's I think that's why I've gone more to the fetish models versus the porn models because it was like pulling teeth with them, And I'm like, first of all, when I have to explain dry humping to a grown adult, I feel some type of way.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, we've all been 15, you know, like, and you're right. And talking is very important for that because it's just one action, but like you make it really hot when you're talking about, oh, I didn't realize that the whole element of like, what if he can't touch, he can't touch you, and that must be excruciating. Oh, yes. Like that
Right,
cool
right.
tension, or like maybe I mentioned that you're cheating on your wife or something, and so it's extra like, please don't come, please
Spicy.
don't come.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right,
Like
right.
the talking makes it something.
So, what kind of stuff do you shoot for your production?
I do a lot of, and they've guided, like my clients have sort of guided me to this purpose in life, is like almost every single man on earth like has thought at least once about sucking a dick. And like there's this big situation of like guys who are heterosexual and they're attracted to women, but they like the idea of, and this is a spectrum, either making out and fucking their really hot neighbor or being a total cum dumpster in a men's bathroom and just like just disgusting, like violent sexual violation. Like, and so I got an email from somebody. They're like, I used to feel really ashamed coming from a religious background on my fantasies about being a cum dumpster or giant whore or whatever. And you helped me like make sense of that in my head where I can visit that and then go back to my life. And
Mm.
so I do a lot of like gay or cocksucking encouragement. And I like to say, because I like to teach. And so I'm like, you're not a, because the F slur, I always ask people I'm working with, like, how do you feel about me using that word?
hmm
But I'll tell the viewer, like, you're not gay, don't worry. You're just a cocksucking F slur.
hmm
Like that's different because that's the brain that they want to be in is I want my holes used. I want to be called this offensive thing, like,
hmm
because it's a fantasy. And then you move out of it. But also I feel like I'm teaching where I'm like, do you want to marry the dick? Then it's not gay. Just enjoy it. Like enjoy being a slut for dick. It's
Yeah.
fun. Like that, a lot of that, a lot of cuckolding, um, strap on stuff, um, stories. I tell stories, like 20-minute stories, and those do very, very well for me because I get really immersed in it.
No, I think I was looking at one of your trailers recently, and you do feel multiple different spectrums. And I saw the you wearing a strap and all that. I was like, yeah, that's not for me. And I kept scrolling, and then it was something else, but you could tell that you really put a lot of thought and emphasis into whatever it is that you. Even the scene with me, I'm not even gonna lie, it's one of my most memorable scenes.
Oh, I'm glad.
It was the longest, but also one of the most memorable because it was like you gave me all that I wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't come there to like just show up. I came there like try hard and give. I want to do my best.
Right,
I
right,
want to
right,
do a good job.
right.
Like, and I
No,
know
you
that I
definitely
can.
got an A plus plus. But
I'm glad. And like I used to love dry humping when I was younger. Like, so I'm down.
and so that goes back to when you say that your friends are kind of steering you into a certain direction, because I wish that I would have started the Dry Bone series year one. Like, it's nothing worse than feeling like you did all this work and now the thing that's actually making sense and actually making money you found or discovered years later.
Yeah, that shoulda, woulda, like you can't think about that time that you wasted. Or
Yeah.
you didn't waste it because you wouldn't have gotten there without that time. Like, or
Right.
you might not have been as good at it or something.
Right.
Like
I think I would have
living in the
made
like
way more
regret is a
money.
fool's game. Yeah, regret is a fool's game.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. No, I'm appreciative of my journey. You know,
But yeah, it is frustrating. Like I could have been doing this the whole time. Yeah.
right. Like, oh my, why wasn't I thinking this way 5 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah. Or
So,
like when I first started, it was very like I was one of the first like findom girls to be like, oh no, you can show your tits and still be dom because like that brat princess findom genre was very much like, oh, dominant women don't get naked. I'm like, where have you been for centuries of femdom? But I remember thinking like, why did I let people boss me around about my body for so long? I could have been making so much more money and not worried about them.
no, I definitely see that argument a lot, especially on Twitter, where they're like, if you're a true Dom, you have to carry yourself like this. And I'm like,
That means like, so how are you like a female supremacist, like slave and worshiping women, but like vilifying their bodies? Like, just don't show me your womanliness. Like, as if you looking at my naked body is you dominating me in some way. Like, you're just reinforcing like
the
that
stereotype,
male
yeah.
power. Yeah. Like, and femdom is supposed to subvert that. Like, that's why femdom is fun because it's like not the norm.
Well, what I tell people, especially in 2024 now, there's so many different versions of submissives, and there's so many different versions of Doms.
Yeah.
Whatever fits for you, do that shit because you're always, and I think that's what I'm getting at as far as how free porn and people in porn used to be. People in porn used to just be like, listen, as long as you're not hurting nobody, you're not, fucking with kids and shit, do whatever you want to do. Now it's so much judgment in what's supposed to be a free space for us to be creative and do what the fuck we want to do that it's
Yeah.
aggravating.
And people aren't able to like compartmentalize or separate things. Like the things that you say or do. Like I would never, ever, ever use the F slur like in my entire fucking life. But like in the context of that video, with the permission of my viewer and or the person I'm working with, that works. You can't watch that video and be like, well, Sarah's homophobic, terrible person. Like, no, that's porn. That's porn. Like
Yeah.
it's not for you, apparently, if you don't like it, but yeah.
I remember when the whole BBC thing was happening during COVID where they were like trying to get rid of the word. And I was on a news reporter or whatever asked me how I felt about that. And I was like, well, if you get rid of the word, how are you going to find me? They were like, what? I was like, if you get rid of the word, how are they going to find me? Because normally that's how you're going to find a black talent
Because racism
content.
still exists in the world, you know?
right.
Like you but
And then
like
I had to also explain, we in this industry always want to be compared to Hollywood and stuff like that. Leonardo DiCaprio said the N word 107 times in one fucking movie. And yes, did he not want to do it 100%? But he did it for the role, and we didn't crucify this guy over it. He was
right, because it
playing
was
a
in that
role.
context. We know Quentin Tarantino loves to write that word though. But that's
oh my.
beside the point. He fucking loves any excuse to fucking say that, buddy. Like, but yeah, good point.
yeah. So it's like we can't say we need to be in the creative space over here, but to a point, to whatever we don't want to offend these other people who's not even fucking buying the content to begin with. Let's
Right.
be honest.
Yeah. Or the people, a lot of times, the people are offended for other people. It's a white person saying that's offensive to this, or this. And oh, so you're like colonizing offense now, like in a way. Like,
And the crazy thing that you brought that up, it was so many white women like, yes, we need to get rid of the word. And I was just like,
Yeah, I'm gonna
who
listen to what the
asked
black
you?
women are saying about that. Like, I'm just gonna
Right.
listen to them. Like, personally, um I don't use like the tag, but my partner, who if they're black, use it all you want, dude. I'm not like that's your word. Like, I just don't do it. Like, and that's my thing. I'm
Yeah.
not exactly. I'm gonna listen to what the the black person is saying about the offensive thing. Like, and also understanding that maybe that's not my conversation to have. Like, maybe I don't have any business in that conversation, but if everybody agrees, like, hey, that's a horrible thing to say, like, all of us, the majority of us black people would like you to stop saying this, be like, check, good, no questions.
No, 100%. Listen, I've been in conversations on Twitter where I'm like, and then I look at it, and then I just erase the shit and go about my life. Like,
Yeah, same. The drafts folder is where it's at.
because, like you said, at the end of the day, no one's going to really give a fuck. And
Yeah, we're not.
the people that are voicing their opinion aren't the ones that it really affects anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something to be said, of course, for allyship and, using your privileged voice, but that's not what we're talking about. Like,
No,
it's
because no
people
one
like
asked. No
they
one
look,
tapped you and say, "Hey, can you speak up for this cause?" Because
yeah,
we don't have a voice right now.
right. So why don't we just amplify the black voices that are talking? Like, retweet them,
Right, right.
at least.
All right,
But yeah.
all right. So we're at the end. I
Okay.
know it's sad. I'm about to cry,
Me
but
too.
go ahead and tell the people where they can find you at, what you got going on. This is your moment to shine, so use the
Thank
platform.
you. SarahDiavola.com is my clips for sale. I have an I Want Clips. I have a loyal fans. That's awesome because at least for now, like for instance, I can put like a bloody ball busting scene up there before they crack. No comment. But anyway, like Sarah Diavola is me everywhere. I'm just starting remembering who the fuck I am lately. And so like that's just only going to get better. Like um I've been like at 60% for so long for personal reasons and things like that. But now like I'm taking care of the personal stuff. And now I'm like ready to show up. And so I like to talk about way too many personal things, but um yeah, I make videos. I have like thousands and thousands of them. I make custom videos. I do sessions. Um I'm just a goddamn legend.
There you go. Talk that shit. No, I don't know what you're going through, but you definitely, I know you can go to the skies, right?
You're right.
You got to just stop holding yourself back.
Absolutely. I'm my only obstacle. For real.
100%. 100%. So, with that being said, you can find me Hektek at Hektek Desires. You could Google all that shit, and all my shit will pop up. Um, Also, whatever by Hektek. This is the show that I like to talk about whatever is on my mind at that moment. You can find it on all platforms at whatever by Hektek. That's TikTok, Spotify. Yes, we come on Spotify every Saturday at 12 p.m. YouTube, all them shits. The only difference is Twitter. It's going to be We by Hektek because it was too long to put in Twitter, so I had to shorten it down. But everything else you can find whatever by Hektek by spelling it out. I am blessed and very appreciative that you came on the platform. A lot of people is knocking to get on here, and you bumped a whole bunch of people.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank
Yeah.
you.
As soon
I
as
knew
you
it was
like
gonna be good.
As soon as you're like, yeah, I want to do it. All right, fuck all y'all other people.
Thank you.
And
Sorry, everybody, but thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
No problem. All right, go
You're
ahead and
such
say
a
bye
good,
to.
good person, and I love you so much. You are good, good people.
I
You're
try to
awesome.
be. I try to be. I'm leaving the industry soon, but I'm still here for a second.
All right, but you'll still be on Earth, and that's cool.
That part. All
Yeah.
right.